Hey, hey, hey! What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Child of Mecha live stream. I am your host, Tim, the one and only Child of Mecha. It is Wednesday. Hump Day. Anyway, we're going to be jumping back onto this SD unicorn build today. Continue to work on the details on the head and stuff like that. Got some stuff planned out that we want to get taken care of, all that fun stuff. So we're going to jump into that here in just a few minutes. Now, we're rocking the Reapers. Yeah. Reaper Wednesday. Why not? Seemed like a good idea when I thought of it. But if you want to rock one of these Reaper shirts as well, definitely hit up childofmecha.com, hit the store button up at the top. You will find this shirt, many more hats, prints of my work, all sorts of fun stuff in there. Now, if you are interested in the tools and materials that we're going to be working with here today, I highly suggest you hit the Amazon link below here on Twitch and YouTube. That side, if you're watching on Facebook, a lot of cool stuff in there. I do get a bit of a commission based off the stuff that you buy, but it doesn't increase the cost for you. It goes to help out me, it goes to help out the stream, fuel our endeavors moving forward. Like I said, tools and materials that we use almost on a daily basis, books for inspiration, gear for streaming if you want to get into that now. Obviously is a good time. If you are interested in tools, kits, paints, accessories, Mecha Decals, sheets 1 and 2, those are both in stock and shipping now. Hit up our good friends right down yonder here, USA Gundam Store. Adam and the fine crew down there will definitely have what you need. Now, if beyond all that you like what you see here, you enjoy the stream, you get value from it, you learn something, hit the like, subscribe, follow, all that deal on all of the social media platforms and stuff, and you'll definitely be able to keep track of what we're doing off stream as well. Be greatly appreciated. And if you know somebody or a group of somebodies that could benefit from watching this, share it with them. It's the nice thing to do, right? Without any further ado, let's go and just get to building. Yeah? All right. I think that sounds like a really good plan. Camera 2, here we go. All right. Excuse me. So, let's get you zoomed in. Whoop. And if you remember from yesterday, we installed this little bump out piece right there, and these nice little kind of cheek extensions there, right? And I think I got the other one shaped after the stream, and that looks really good. And both of these combined together, I think, make a really nice looking front profile there. Gives some added width right here up at the top, and I think that looks really, really good. We slide the V fin in here, and get the cap back on, and you can kind of see the full effect of all of the changes that we've made, yeah? And I really like that, you know, because you got a nice big old V fin and everything, right? And these just kind of add just a little bit of visual flair, a little balance, so to speak, in the, you know, off to the sides and stuff. And, you know, they're kind of inconspicuous if you're looking at them on the side, but, you know, they really add a lot, you know, just to that front profile, right? So I'm really happy with that. Really, really happy with that. And we're going to continue kind of in that same vein today by adding stuff that will, excuse me, visually balance out things on the head, because obviously that is going to be the point of focus for whatever mobile suit that you're building, right? You're always going to look at the head. The head is the most interesting part usually, right? So with that in mind, we're going to continue on, and we're going to add some more stuff to this. Now, what we need to do, let's get our eyes on here, right? And we're going to start off with a little scribing. Excuse me. And let's see. We're actually going to need some Dymo tape on this one, whether I like it or not, right? Rather than raw dogging it, we're gonna go old school, and we're gonna get the Dymo tape out here. Now, where'd my scissors go? I don't even know. Anyway, we'll just use the chopper because we're going to need it anyway, right? Let's get you zoomed out so you can see the setup here. Whoop, there we go. Push that back just a scotch there. There we are. Now, let's get these out of here because we're just going to cut this kind of like that. I think that looks good. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a few strips out of this because we don't need to lay down this whole thing just for, you know, the simple stuff that we're going to do. Now, let's get the little debris off the blade here because that's going to mess things up. Get out of there. Get out of there. Anyway. All right, so we've got a 2mm strip we're going to use here as our distance gauge. We're going to butt that up right to the blade, and then we're going to get our flat stop block here. We're going to push that right up against the styrene strip. We're going to lock that down. Peel that back off, and now what we're going to do is we're going to set this right up against the stop block, but what we're going to hold it with is going to be our L square here, so we can keep this nice and straight, so we have nice and straight strips, right? So we cut once, and there, Jesus, there is your 2mm or so little strip, right? And we can get a few little strips out of this, probably about 4. Whoa, hey now, stay there. Nope, stay there, stay. There we go. There we are. All right, so we can get, so we can get 3 strips of our normal size, and then we can get kind of a little bit of a thinner one here, probably about a 0.5 millimeter thinner in width. But for our purposes, we just need the straight. We just need the straightness of it, right? That's all we need it for. It doesn't matter how thick it is right now, because we're just going to be using this simply as a guide. So we've got our 4 little strips of Dymo tape here. We've got our piece with the design that I've already put on here, and this is just basically to separate some of these panels and stuff, and to make it more visually interesting, right? So we're going to work with that here real quick, but let's go ahead and get one of these strips working for us here. Now, the hardest part, in my opinion, of scribing is just removing the damn backing tape off the Dymo here. That, I think, by far is the hardest part in all of scribing. I don't care what anybody says. All right. Load that into our tweezers, peel that back. Now we have our Dymo, and placement is always, always, always crucial, right? Placement's always crucial. So we want these to land on the 2 corners here, just like that. So we've got this inside corner here, and then we've got a small, kind of a almost obtuse kind of outer corner down here, and that's kind of where we want the tape to fall, right? And we want to get that as close on those edges as possible. Now, for scribe lines, we're going to use 0.20 for a nice kind of wide separation. And let's go to work getting this first line in here. Looks like this tape is migrated just a bit. So we'll move this over. Now this is a slightly curved piece, so it's a little tricky on the tape. That's why I wanted smaller strips. And also, you know, obviously you get more bang for your buck with being able to cut the tape, you know. If you can get 4 strips out of 1, you've just quadrupled your output for that piece of tape, and you've just quadrupled your savings in terms of cost. Think about it that way as well, right? to get our grooves set in here first. And then we'll get to reinforcing or deepening this line, right? Okay. So there's that. Now, we don't want to necessarily throw away this strip yet, so we're going to peel this off with our tweezers. We can reuse this another time. So we're going to save that here for just a second, and then we're going to put it back on here and get some use out of it. So what we're doing right now is called basically reinforcing the line, which means getting it to the proper depth that we want. Now, thing to keep in mind, obviously, when you're first starting out scribing, you know, you ask the common questions. What's a good size for chisels? What, you know, how many passes do you go? Well, you know, we obviously well, I should say I obviously promote BMC. That's, you know, my chisel of choice. But in terms of number of passes, you know, you have to keep it in mind is that each pass you're going to have a different amount of pressure applied to the chisel. So it's going to take off varying amounts of plastic each pass. So honestly, I don't go by number of passes. I go by look and I go by feel. And once that line looks deep enough, I just, you know, that's where I'll stop. You know? So, don't necessarily go by number of passes, right? Anybody that tells you, oh, this number of passes, this number of passes, obviously, you know, they kind of really haven't thought it through all that much, in my opinion. Right, that looks good. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take our first piece of Dymo tape here, and we're going to set this right along here, and we're going to try to get this as parallel to this bottom edge here as possible, right? And we're just going to kind of eyeball that. And then for proper placement, we'll get our ruler out here, and we'll see exactly what the distance is. That's 3 millimeter constant. Okay, so that is pretty much dead on parallel, so I'm happy with that. So now what we'll do is we'll start here in the front-facing corner. We'll scribe back into the line that we just laid in. Okay, got the groove set in there. Now we'll pop this off and we'll be able to use this like one more time here, right? Now for our diagonal coming off of that front line. Okay. All right, so that piece of Dymo tape is about spent. So we're going to toss that. Now, let's go back here and reinforce both of these lines that we just cut in. Clean out the debris from the original line because we don't want our chisel to jump or ramp on that debris. Right, that looks pretty good. All right, let's do our diagonal here. And again, you're going off, or at least I'm going off by kind of how it looks in terms of depth and just kind of the feel of it, you know? All right, so those 3 lines are looking pretty good. Now, important thing to note, wrap your lines around your panels. So we're going to raw dog this here. We're going to freehand it a little bit. Just like that. Now, reinforce this little line down here. Very good. All right, and then one last pass over it all, just to tie it all together. There we are. Cool. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going to add in a little bit of an accent, or what we call a micro panel, right? Now, micro panels essentially are just little detail bits that can be secondary colors, tertiary colors, what have you, from your base coat. So say for this instance, the base coat obviously on the unicorn is white. And what we're going to end up doing is adding a micro panel here, but we can paint this some other color, like a gray or, you know, like a, I don't know, like a tan color or something like that, right? Some sort of offsetting color that will give visual interest to all of this, right? Now we're going to make this parallel with the horizontal line that we scribed in just a few seconds ago, and let's make sure we've got a constant. This front edge is a little high. That's good. Okay, so now excuse me, we'll scribe this in here. Okay, let's get that piece of Dymo tape pulled off here. Gotta love it when it pops off and jams you in the face, right? Fun times. All right, clean the debris out of that line. Let's go back and reinforce this, and we'll get a get our notches in here. Tie it all together, sand it down, and then we'll get caught up with the chat. All right. So that's looking really good. So we're done with the 0.20, right? Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take 0.60. We're going to add a little bit of visual interest to this little micro panel here. We're going to make kind of a nice separating line. You can even call this a notch if you wanted. But we're going to separate this little micro panel. This is looking pretty good. Okay. Just got to even all this up here real quick. All right. And let's switch back to the 0.20 just to clean out the lines here. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, cool. So We'll save that. We'll put the 0.6 away. Now what we're going to do is we're going to grab the 0.30. We're going to make 2 more little notches on the very first line that we scribed in here. This line right there. And these are just basically latch marks, right? They're basically just simulating latches. And that's essentially what all notches really are, just kind of simulating latches, hinges, things of that nature, mechanical details that may be too small to actually represent in plastic form. Alright, that looks good there. Let's get our bottom one in here, and then we'll give this all kind of a nice sanding. Alright, so let's clean this up with the toothbrush, and let's sand this, any of the rest of the pencil lead off of here. And that will properly reveal our design, and then we can check that as opposed to what we drew on here, right? Alright, let's get that, get these lines cleaned out here. And there's that. All right, let's get super zoomed in here so you can see the fruits of our labor here. Yeah, right about there. And real quick, let's get zoomed in. Get the box. Get that centered there. Nice, and there it is. Yeah. Pretty good. Pretty damn good. Let's get a little bit more focused here, yeah? Right about there, I think looks good. Yeah. But so there you can kind of see you know, what we're trying to accomplish here, right? So you've got this big cheek panel. You know, this whole big section right here. So we wanted to, or at least I wanted to separate that a little bit. So line right down here, couple notches. You know, and there, right here, you can kind of see your little micro panel, right? These 2 little splits here with the big kind of gap in the middle. This little portion right in here, we can paint a different color, like an accent color, a tertiary color, something like that, right? But you can see how this line comes across, down diagonal, and then obviously wraps around to the bottom of our piece. And that gives us a very, very nice separation there, right? That all looks like they're separate pieces, right? Looks like this whole panel here is a separate piece, this whole panel here is a separate piece, and all of this little bits down here just all separated, right? So, it's kind of what we're going for, yeah? I think it looks pretty damn good. All right, so let's get out of Super Zoom. Let's get caught up with the chat, yeah? Get rid of the box, bring everything back forward, and whoa, let's scroll. Let's scroll back up here and get caught up, yeah? Let's see. El Lobo BK is over there on Facebook. He says, this is my first time here. I hear good things from Old School Gunpla about this channel. Hey, well, thank you to George for that one. Welcome. Mr. Goalie Zero, Carl, he's over there on Twitch. He says, midday Molsons and mobile suits, living the dream. Nice, nice. Persistent Turtle, Mr. Lucas, he's over there on YouTube as well. What up, Wednesday? What's going on, dude? Gert McDirt is over there on YouTube as well. He says, I know Tim ain't super into this project, but it got me in the mood. Whoa. Hey now. Got a bunch of supplies and a Sisqueed. I don't know how to say that. Sisqueed? I don't know. Coming. That's awesome. New Type Nova is over there on Twitch. He says, hey Tim, what's up chat? Hope everyone's having an awesome day so far. Hey man, good. Thank you for watching. Appreciate that. Chris Degger is over there on YouTube as well. He says, I tried building an SD kit for my wife because she liked them so much when we went to the store. I mean, she takes 30 minutes or less to snap fit, but not my jam. Hey, whatever it takes, right? William Wilms is also over there on YouTube. He says those SD HG builds like this do look good when you put the effort into it. Yeah, that's just... Let's see. Chris Degger says Pab's Blue Sinanju is looking really cool, isn't it? It's got a good look to it. Gert McDirt says, yeah, I was watching BB's stream last night, and that thing looks great. He's referring to our boy Brian, Mr. Bro Builder. Yeah. Mac V is over there on Twitter. He says, do you use clear scribing tape? No, actually I don't. Mainly because I've got an abundance of Dymo tape, right? The old school stuff. And I figure since I have it, use it, right? And I'm pretty good with it, so I'm not going to necessarily go in and reinvest in guide tape, even if it's clear and everything. So I'll just use this and then get whatever I need. Superset5 is over there on Twitch. He says, hi, everybody. How goes it? What's going on, Michael? Oh, Michael, real quick. Your book shipped yesterday. Yeah. So there you go. Gumperona Mr. Z says, hope you guys enjoyed last night's stream. Yeah. VFX10 Viper, yep, great stream. Now looking for World War II paints. Hey now. Z says, thanks. Hopefully we can help some builders level up. Julio's over there, Mr. Clippin' Nubs. Church of the Chooch. What up, fam? He says, let's see. Gert McDirt says, hi, I spent pretty close to that as Volks open back up. Nice. Oh, Z says he spent about 150 on paint this week. Damn, Z, what are you doing, man? Hell. 150 on paint? Come on, son. Chris Degger says, I saw online a kit that someone did, a flat prime on bare plastic. It looked kind of cool. I think I'm going to try it on my old unpainted goof. Anyway, ever done that? Is it a bad idea? A flat prime, like just primer? Or like a clear coat? I don't know. Gert McDirt says, I haven't, but it does help details pop, so it should look real nice on the shelf. Okay. VFX10 Viper says, Z, ironic, missed your messages because I was looking at my cart of paints. Hey now. Julio says, you going to add any positive detail to this? We already did a little bit with this little bump out here. But to this, I don't know if we're going to add much else. Now, we may add some stuff to the back because my thought is thus. When this is all put together and everything there, you've got this gaping massive gap there, right? Now, mind you, that's because what is it? You put the you can switch this thing around and have it be in unicorn mode like that, right? So that side is actually now very close to the faceplate, and then that back side now is very close to the back of the head. Now, obviously, we're not going to be transforming this into unicorn mode anytime soon, so what I might go ahead and do, which I should take that back, which I am going to go ahead and do, is back this up basically plate over part of this inside here with 1mm sheet, and then that will close that gap there, and that'll look, I think, a lot better all the way around. So that's something that we're going to be doing. But positive details, we added this little bump out here, which I think does make a kind of a world of difference. We added the little cheek extensions and everything there. Added some plates up here on the mohawk and stuff like that. But other than that, I don't know if we're going to add too much else, honestly, Julio. So yeah. Oh yeah, so that's a great question. So Chris Degger asks, what did Julio mean by positive details? Meaning adding stuff on, which basically we added, these little plastic sheets and stuff like that, rather than taking away, meaning scribing and cutting and stuff like that. So positive is when you add it, subtractive is when you take away from it. So that's actually a really good question. And Julio said adding instead of subtracting. There you go. Simple as that, right? R. Aurora, Mr. Andrews over there on YouTube, he says, would have been here sooner, but I had to do some research on trying to fix one of our lawn mowers. Interesting. Terry T's over there on YouTube, he says, if you haven't watched Zach's live stream with Adam, I highly recommend it. It was great to hear about the operation. Oh yeah, I mean, it's always really freaking interesting, right? Gert McDirt says, really dig the micro panels, Tim. Thank you, man. They just add kind of that visual pop to the different surfaces and everything. So I'm real big into that. We did that extensively on the Zaku that we finished up late last year, and the little micro panels just make a world of difference. You see that aesthetic on a lot of dress-up kits, resin dress-up kits and things like that, especially from, folks, makers like Anchorette and stuff like that. They add these little itty-bitty panels into their designs, and it looks awesome, especially when it's fully painted and everything. It just looks amazing. So it's kind of one of my little, I guess, signature things. I don't know. William Williams says, I will watch Zach's stream after work today. There you go. Superset 5, awesome sauce. And Michael, I need to send you the tracking information for that. I'm sorry, I haven't gotten a chance to do that yet. But I'll update your order and everything and get you that sent off. I think your shirts, or your shirt, I can't remember if you ordered one or two. Let me double check here real quick for you. Let's get a production update here, like we have been doing, right? Let's see. No, okay, so it looks like both of your shirts have shipped. Excellent. So I will update your order with your tracking number for the book as well. So keep an eye out for that. Okay. Andrew says to Z, I don't know where to find your stream. Oh, he's talking about Bro Builders stream last night. The Kodokai, or is it Kodo Kid Dojo? Z was on there along with Pabs and our boy Julio. Yeah. Gumpy Uruguay says, oh man, I miss Volks. They're still around. Chris Degger says, like a clear coat. Sorry. Yeah. The clear coat, people have done that before. Yeah. I mean, you got to rely on the plastic being clean, no stress marks or, pock marks or anything like that. So, I would definitely do your due diligence in terms of sanding and polishing the plastic, but then, yeah, a nice clear coat over top of it. It would be perfectly fine. I mean, hell, you look at Josh Dara. He went to GBWC Worlds with an unpainted kit, but he polished the surfaces and everything and made it look really, really nice and smooth. So he did a lot of work into that surface. But yeah, he went to World Finals with an unpainted Master Grade Sinanju kit. So that just kind of goes to show you what you can do with unpainted kits. But he didn't score very well in the paint category. So keep that in mind. Gumpa Ronan says, Andrew, I enjoy being a guest on Brian Bro Builder's stream on Tuesdays, not doing my own stream. Yeah. Tom Brustowicz. Tom, I'm probably killing your name, and I am very sorry. He says, what's up, Tim? He's over there on Facebook. What's going on, dude? Greg Blair 88 is over there on YouTube as well. He says, hey-o, just popping in to say hi, and I'll see ya on tonight's stream. Excellent. We're going to be picking back up on this this remixed bazooka. Yeah? Fun times. Fun times. All right, kids, let's get back to work, shall we? 3:45. We're making good time here. We're making good time. Now, one of the things that I am thinking of doing here, along with plating up this inside here, is adding maybe just like a little floating notch somewhere on here, right? Now, what we could do is this. Yeah, I think this will work right here. So we've got our scribing jig here, and these sides are cut at different angles. Obviously, I think that's 45 there, but let's double check and make sure. Yeah, that's 45 there. What is this here? I don't know if this is 45 or not. It might be. No, that is. That's 45 on both sides, right? This one might be 45 as well, and this may be a better option for us. Yeah, see, that's 45 there as well. Now, reason why I'm saying this might be a better option is because it doesn't have the overhang like the other one does, right? So we can just pop this on here and rely on the flat surface. Actually, I don't like that. I don't like the how it sits there. This one is a little bit more stable, right? But we're going to get it right down into this corner, and we're actually going to make a 45-degree floating notch here, and I'll show you what I mean here in just a second. But first, let's get let's get the groove set in here on this thing. Put that down just a bit more. There we go. Nice. Okay, so we've got a groove. Now we're just going to go back in here and reinforce this little floating notch. Oh, and by the way, we're using 0.30 for this. This is not going to be, you know, a huge type of thing. Just enough to get across the point that, hey, there's a panel lock here or something to something that basically needs your attention when maintaining said mobile suit. Now, let's see. And there, let's see if we can catch like a shadow or something. You can kind of see it in there, right? A little bit. But it just adds like a little visual flair right there, right? Just in the corner, nothing crazy. And that's all we're going to do. So it's just another kind of little trick, little aesthetic pop that you can put onto panels as well, right? So let's put this away. Now let's start cutting plastic, yeah? Let's see if we've got any scrap over here. What is this? This might be 3/4 millimeter. Be good if our calipers were dialed in. And yeah, about 3/4 millimeter, this right here. Now, the issue that we may run into is that this is not a perfectly flat surface. This definitely has somewhat of a curve to it, especially right there. So we may have to do this in Yeah, we're gonna have to do this in a few different ways. So first things first. Let's mark some lines here. And what we're going to do right here where this panel comes down, that's where that kind of massive space is. So we're going to mark our line right there. And that's where we're going to bring the plastic down to, right? Okay, so let's see if, let's see, where is 6.3 by 1? That's what I want to see first. Here we go. Let's see if this is going to be enough. Wait a minute. Nope, that's not going to be enough. So we're definitely going to have to go full plating on this. Okay. Now, another thing that we're going to run into is there's a bevel on these edges here. And so when we glue this up, you're going to see that gap right there, right up here. We're going to have to fill that gap. Probably just with super glue or something simple like that. But that's definitely going to be something that we're going to have to do. But I think this is going to be exactly what we need. Now, one other thing that I want to see. All right, cool. So the thing that I was checking is the clearance, basically the clearance right in this, in this section here, right? Especially between these two points, which is not a big deal because nothing falls there at this point, nothing crucial anyways, no parts or anything like that. So we should be good to glue up this whole surface here with this piece of styrene. So let's go ahead and get that started here. If I could hold on to the damn thing, that would be great. Now what we're going to do is we're going to first clean off our super glue bottle here. Let's get this. So we got a little nub forming on here. See, you just crack that off, right? That's all we did. I didn't cut it. I just kind of gripped it and it just cracked off. There we go. Good enough. All right. So let's get a nice bead all along here. Good. And now we'll place our sheet right in there. Okay, that. Come on now. Hold on. This thing doesn't wanna stay. Man, it's sticking to my fingers more than the actual piece. Alright, so what we're gonna have to do here is kind of gap fill this right now, just like that, and then hit this with some Instaset, and that will quick cure on there, and that should start to hold real nice. Alright, let's do the same thing up here. Okay, now we can go ahead and just kind of trim off the low-hanging fruit here. And as you can see, I'm not getting too close to the piece just yet. I don't want to necessarily disturb the glue up here because this is still kind of in the process of curing and all that good stuff, right? So let's get a little bit more up here. Just to fill that in. So there is kind of what we're going for. All right, we're gonna let that kind of cook off here just for a second. Andrew says, new task chair for building and painting model kits will be here tomorrow. And thank you, Z. I'll be sure to subscribe to Bro Builder and watch his stream as well. There you go, Andrew. That's always a good time. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. All right. Let's see. Let's see if this thing is properly cured yet or not. Definitely still a little soft in places. Kind of to be expected. All right, let's get a little bit more. A little bit more in these gaps here. Okay, and then hit that with a little more Instaset. Okay, pretty good, pretty good. All right, so now, next thing we got to do. Excellent. Okay, so what I was looking for is trying to see where the tab is, the location tab. And you can, on this side rod here that plugs into the side of the face, that location tab is right up front. So you have a secondary one, which is for when you turn it around to unicorn mode, but we're not going to need that, so we can actually glue over top of that, right? Now, what's the length that we're going to need? That's going to be the big determining factor here. That's going to be about 2.5. So I think we have 2.5 by 3/4 here. Let's see. Both of these 2. Yeah, both of these are 2. So those aren't going to work. What's this one right here? This may be the one. Definitely 2.5 by 3/4. Excellent. That's exactly the strip that we need here. All right, so what we can do is just lay this right up against there. Oops. Be good if it was on screen. Lay this right up against here, and that will fill in right to that line, and we can just barely glue that down to the back corner of that piece there, right? So let's cut our little strip here, right there, and let's get that loaded into the tweezers. And then we can start laying down a little bit more super glue here. All right. Okay. And let's get this thing placed in here. Just like that. Ah. Just shifted on me. Son of a bitch. Alright, not a big deal. Not a big deal. We can fix it. We fix everything, right? Okay. All right, so that's good there. Now, for safety's sake and for rigidity, we're going to go ahead and put a bead of super glue right down the middle there. And let's see, let's get this a little spread out here along this seam. Right like that. And then we'll hit this with a bit of Insta-Set there as well. And then we can go ahead, after this is cured up, then we can go ahead and start to trim this thing back and make it flush, all that good stuff, right? So let's see, before we do that, let's see who's in the chat. Yeah, Manny, Mr. MacDio, he's over there. He says, hello, everyone. How are y'all doing today? Manny, we're doing good. How are you, man? Staying safe? Hopefully. Hopefully. Plasticology Inc. is over there on YouTube. He says, hey, Mech, just trying to learn from the master. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Very nice of you to say. Very nice of you to say. All right. Let's see. That should hopefully be enough time for that to get cured up here. Let's double check the outside here, because that's going to be the big part. But that looks cured. That looks cured. Everything looks to be pretty good. Okay, excellent. So let's do this. Let's get our little paper towel here. Let's wipe off the excess Insta-Set on the inside here. And mop up any of the excess still on the outside surfaces as well. Because that stuff, Insta-Set is great, but it's kind of greasy when you really start to work with it. When you get it on your hands, it's a little weird, yeah? A little greasy. But not a big deal. Not a big deal. All right. So we're going to be extra careful with cutting the excess off of these pieces. Mainly because we need to follow the angles of the existing piece rather than cutting it, you know, straight back. Sometimes those angles on the existing piece are such that you need a little bit more overhang on these pieces, right? So trim it back just a nice safe distance from the piece, and there we kind of go. Now let's dry fit this onto the head and see if we've got any obstructions or anything like that. Ooh, shit. Ooh, look at that. That couldn't fit any better. Yeah. That could not fit any better. And see how it fills that gap right there? So you don't have this big gaping, like, I mean, you could drive a semi-truck through that, right? Over here, not so much. Good luck getting a skateboard through that, right? So that's exactly what we're going for with this. All right, so now we go about trimming this. So we're gonna have to get our hobby knife out here, NT cutter, highly recommended, and we're just gonna follow the contour of the piece itself. Don't go trying to, you know, get this perfectly even on the first pass, because you're never gonna do it, and if you try, you could definitely mess up, you know, all of the work that you put into it, right? So we're gonna make a few kind of just quick passes first, just to even it out, and then a few finish passes just to even everything up, get it nice and flat and uniform down the line. Okay, good stuff there. All right. Now we're going to need to spin this around, come back from the other side, because we've got an inside corner here. All right, so focus. There we go. So far, so good. That contour is looking pretty nice. Still a ton of work to do. Still a lot of cleaning up, but thus far, looking quite nice and even. Because at the end of the day, essentially what you're going to want is for the plastic that you laid down to be a natural extension of the plastic that's there. You want, you basically want everything to look the same. And that's what we're attempting to do here, right? Okay. And here you can kind of see just a little ribbon of plastic coming up off of this. This is definitely one of our finishing passes here, right? One of the passes that we make to just get everything nice and even. And we're going to have to do this on both sides. Now, I'm not going to do it on stream on both sides, but just keep in mind when you do something like this, you're going to have to duplicate it on the other side as well. So, yeah, that's looking really good. Really good. All right. Kind of see how that all flows. All right. So, honestly, this top side is the easy part on this. Let's get a little scraping on this long edge here. All right. Very nice. All even. All right. So now what we're going to need to do is clean off the super glue off the surface of the piece, especially on this kind of protrusion out the back here. Okay, and to even that up, let's use the file. Perfect. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to bevel this in just slightly, like it was before. We're going to make a few passes on this until we get it down to where we need it to be. Okay, looks pretty good. Let's get the file going here. Nice, 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 nice. All right, so we've got nice sharp corners there. Even though there's a color difference there, right? And it looks like a gap. That is all clear. That's super glue. So you can see the passes the fingernail test quite nicely. So that's looking really, really good there. Now we'll turn it this way and kind of transition on the back side here. for this surface, we're going to follow the contour. We're not going to make any bevels or anything fancy like that. We're just going to completely follow the angle and the contour of this piece. Alright, so since this is an inside corner, obviously you don't want to start from this corner and work this way. You want to work into a corner on all scenarios, okay? Okay. There, that cuts out that little ribbon. Let's get some finishing passes on this underside here. Okay. All right. So since we have this molded in kind of raised panel here, which we actually scribed around it, which the super glue got into here today while we were filling this, we're going to need to be really, really careful right along this edge to not disturb this raised panel here. So we're going to need to go in pretty light, delicate cutting passes here. Okay. Cut right along the edge of this raised panel and basically try to pop out a lot of this super glue here that has kind of migrated into it. That looks pretty decent there. Still have a couple little gaps that we need to fill in here that's not quite even, but so far so good. Little gap right here on the corner that we could focus, that we could probably use to fill there too. Alright, so let's go ahead and start just kind of scraping this down first. Very nice. Very nice. All right. So that passes the infamous fingernail test. Now we're going to clean up here this little corner. Just make that easily transition down into that filler strip on the inside here. Just like that. That looks good. All right, let's take a look how this piece looks now. And there we go. That fills that out nicely. Looking pretty good. Once we get primer on this thing, then we can really kind of see the effect of all of this padding and everything. So that'll need to come later. Trimming a little bit more super glue from this piece. Right up against this raised panel thing here. Probably should have done this before I outline scribed this, but you know what they say about hindsight. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now, one thing I think I'm going to do is go ahead and put a bevel into this little corner here. Just like that. And then also put one right here to match. Yeah, okay. So, let's see, we'll flatten these out and make these nice and even here. Like that. Very good. And we'll do the same thing with this bottom one that we just cut in. Good there as well. Excellent. All right, so last surface that we need to address is this right here. Okay, not too bad. All right, so let's do a little part check there. Yeah. Perfect. No huge gap. Perfect. Even up here where we filled in there, that sits perfect right up against the part. Excellent. That's what we like to see. That's what we really, really, really like to see. Awesome. Okay. Woo! Nice. All right, let's get caught up with the chat real quick, yeah? Let's see. Here we go. Robert Cottrell, he's over there on Facebook. What's up, Robert? Good to see you. Z says, just out here doing Bat Dad things. Hey now. Plasticology, Bat Dad stuff, including building Gunpla. Yeah, there you go. Manny says, so I'm looking to buy a full line of paints, but I cannot choose between Gaia, AK, or SMS. Gaia is good, but a little on the expensive side and a little bit harder to find. AK is probably a little easier to find, not as expensive, but limited in color range. SMS is great in color range, pretty good in pricing, but harder to get because you can only get them through USA Gundam Store and they sell out very quickly. So pros and cons. Pros and cons. Manny, if you had to go with a full line of paints, honestly, you can do one of two things. Well, one of three things. Mr. Color, which I highly recommend. Or regular Tamiya acrylic, which you can find in any hobby, pretty much any hobby store. And then mix that with Mr. Leveling Thinner, and you basically get a pseudo lacquer, which is extremely, extremely tough, durable, dries in minutes, and goes on just, very, very smoothly. Third choice is wait until the Tamiya lacquers come out here in the US, which they're starting to roll out in June, and then fulfillment of rollout in October. So I would probably gonna suggest either one of those three, because all three of those paints, well, I should say the first two, Mr. Color and the regular Tamiya acrylics, the alcohol-based stuff, you know, it's fairly easier to get here in the States than, you know, the three that you mentioned. So you gotta weigh the pros and cons there, I would say. So yeah, those would be my three suggestions. So let's see. Man, he says, just you, the only one and only. Nice, one and only. He says, okay, off to USA Gundam Store. He says that's a good idea. Gertmer Dirt says, guy has a crazy amount of specialty lines, different animes, different militaries, etc. Let's see. Manny says, which SMS color set should I get? All of them? Just saying. Manny says, use it twice this week. There you go. Z says, Bat Dad never quits. Just got to get that bitch Alfred to order more parts. Nice. Superset5 over there on Twitch says, got a call from work today. Since my dad is sick, my date to return to work is on hold since we work at the Sammy plant. I don't know what that is. Let's see. Manny says, is the U.S. Air Force SMS paint set good? I don't know about the colors, but the paint is really good. SMS is a high quality paint from our friends in Australia. So, yeah. Let's see. Z says, never heard anything bad about them, but have never tried myself. Yeah, Scotty, the owner of SMS, sent me some colors and stuff like that like a year or so ago, maybe two. Yeah, they spray really well, like really well. Right out of the bottle, they're pre-thinned. They're really good, really good. Brandon, he's over there on YouTube. He says, "Sup, everyone? What's going on, dude?" Let's see. He wants to know if Z has figured out what he's grabbing from the box yet. There you go. And Z says, Epion is all mine. There you go. Manny says, well, I have the Mr. Color leveling thinner, so I guess Tamiya is good. Dude, yeah, I mean, they've got a big line of alcohol-based acrylics, right? Which you can mix with Mr. Color leveling thinner to make a pseudo lacquer, which is phenomenal. Phenomenal. The Blue Destiny, which is sitting up there, is painted. The blue on it is actually it's the Tamiya flat blue mixed with Mr. Color leveling thinner. The colors on all the little bear guys that I've done, that's all Tamiya mixed with Mr. Leveling Thinner. All the colors on the Gundam version Logic, that's all Tamiya mixed with Mr. Color or Mr. Leveling Thinner. A few of the colors on the Kylo Ren figure that I just did, Tamiya. Yeah. So Tamiya mixed with Mr. Leveling Thinner is a wonderful, wonderful combination. So if you have it, save yourself some money, dude. You know, just go with Tamiya acrylics. You can, like I said, you can get them literally everywhere. So that's my 2 cents, anyways. Andrew says, suppose I could get off my rear and work on my compressor. What do you use for thread sealant instead of Teflon tape, Tim? I use something called Mega Lock. It's right up here. Let me go get it for you. Hang tight, Andrew. It's this stuff right here, and I'll show you. This right here. This is Mega Lock, multi-purpose thread sealant. Basically what this is, it seals plastic and metal threads, non-drip, soft set, easy cleanup. This is basically like almost like a silicone-based type of product, right? Let's see if I can actually get the cap off of here. Oh, hey, it did. Cool. And so essentially what this is, you can kind of see it. It's very just goopy, and it's kind of separated a little bit. But it, like I said, it's kind of like a silicone, like a rubber-based style product. And you take the brush, and you just brush that right on to the threads and everything. And this gets right in there, penetrates all of the threads and everything like that. And I have never had a leak with anything that I've applied this to. It's awesome. I would say apply it liberally, right? Because any excess that you're gonna, put on there, any excess that you have on there is just gonna squeeze out the threads anyways, and that's gonna basically just make a better seal. Yeah, Mega Lock, you can find that at like Home Depot. That's where I got mine. I would imagine Lowe's has that or something similar. Pretty inexpensive from what I remember, under $10 for that whole can. And yeah, that'll seal every thread that you have known to mankind. Yeah. Let's see. Charles Dodge says, one of the problems with Gaia Notes color availability is that many of their other lines have licensing issues in the US. Availability. Yeah, that's what it really comes down to, right? Gert Madirk says, there you go, man. Honestly, having Tamiya or Mr. Color as your primary supply is a great choice. Gaia for the once in a while wild color. Yeah, I mean, if Gaia Notes was more readily available, like easily, I would probably try it and all that, right? But since it's a little harder to come by, and I've already got a ton of Mr. Color and a ton of Tamiya up here, on this shelf. You can just see the bottom edge of it. That's what I'm going to use. You know what I mean? And I have a few SMS and a few Alclad up there as well. So if you use, and actually I also have splash paints up there too that I have not yet tried, which I need to. So yeah. Let's see. Gertman Dirt says, yeah, true, Charles. Exactly. Terry T says, can you elaborate on pseudo lacquer and full lacquer? Actually, that's a great question, Terry. Let me give you.
We have a question.
Yeah. Okay, so for your true. And lacquer is such a pseudonym, you guys, because what you get in, say, Mr. Color, and SMS and Gaia and Alclad and Splash and finishers and all that, that's all lacquer, but it's not. It's a solvent-based acrylic. So understand that first. It's a solvent-based acrylic. The color, the actual pigment is acrylic-based, but it's held together by a solvent-based binder, right? The difference between this and, say, the stuff that your car is painted with is the difference between night and day. If you were to spray the stuff like car paint, if you were like true automotive paint, if you were to spray that on plastic, chances are it'd probably melt because of the thinner being too hot in it, and hot meaning solvency. This is made for hobby use. Those hobby paints are made for hobby use. Keep that in mind. So when we say lacquer, it's a different thing from your traditional true lacquer paints. Excuse me. Now, when I say pseudo lacquer, I mean something like, one second. Something like one of these Tamiya jars here. And just a quick observation, have you guys ever seen a sky that green before? I'm just saying it's a weird color name for that shade of green. Maybe it's just me. Anyway, So this is this here is not. This is more of your acrylic, right? Your acrylic paint. But see the warning label down here? Flammable. That's what makes Tamiya different. Is because Tamiya doesn't necessarily have a true solvent other than alcohol. This is alcohol based, right? That's why when you get, that's why when you buy Tamiya thinner, you smell it, it smells like rubbing alcohol, because it is. It's mostly alcohol. But the cool thing is, this is the awesome thing about Tamiya, is that you can mix Mr. Color Leveling Thinner with this, and that's where you get your kind of pseudo lacquer, right? Because you're introducing a solvent, a true solvent, into this, and it's taking on the properties. Whoops! It's taking on the properties more akin to, say, your normal lacquer, right? Because when you mix Mr. Color Leveling Thinner with your Tamiya, like I said, it cures a lot quicker. It is way more durable, and it goes on a lot smoother as well. Those are the three huge characteristics of introducing Mr. Leveling Thinner to Tamiya acrylics, alcohol-based acrylics. So that's the difference between, say, a true lacquer and a pseudo lacquer, which is just alcohol-based paint mixed with a solvent base. So that's kind of what that basically means, Terry. Let's see, where do we leave off? There we go. Charles Dodge says pseudo lacquer is the case of Tamiya acrylic, is that it's alcohol based, and Mr. Color Leveling Thinner is a solvent. The two combined gives it some of the toughness of lacquer while still being acrylic. Full lacquer is referenced to Mr. Color line. Guy notes SMS. Why did I even go through that whole spiel? Because Charles already did it for me. God damn it. 5 minutes of my life wasted. But thank you, Charles. I appreciate that. Good assist on that one, too. Andrew says Menards has it in the tube, not the can. Oh, cool. I mean, if it's Megalock, then go with it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Manny says, damn, is all the nice purple paints out of stock? Dude, honestly, that's one of the first colors that I see that sells out in all the lines. Literally all of them. Yeah, weird. I don't know why. Weird. You would think with all these military dudes out there, why in the fuck would purple sell out? Questionable. Maybe it's a supply and demand thing. Maybe it's a bunch of Gunpla people buying up the purple. Who knows? It's a mystery. Charles Dodge says, I'd say don't pigeonhole yourself to one paint line. You'll find a wider range of colors, metallics, and special effects. Definitely. That's why I use both of these, right? Because I hate the copper on Mr. Color. It looks terrible. It's drab and just not good. The copper on Tamiya is really great. Even better is the copper from Alclad. One of my favorite colors of all time. I use it whenever I can. So yeah, the more ranges that you can pick and choose from, oh, the better time you're going to have. Yeah. Let's see. Soravon Zero, he's over there on Twitch. What's up, Soravon? He says, yes, I have seen a sky that green before. You don't want to. That's tornado weather. Shit. Yeah, I don't want to see that. That is a non-starter for me, man. No. William Wilm says, time to hunt down those Model Masters paint. No. Hell no. Model Masters, get out of here. Model Masters sucks. Manny says, does Mr. Color Anniversary paint need to be thinned down? Yes, because it is the same. It's the same type of paint as everything else. It's just in their anniversary colors. So yes, all Mr. Color needs to be thinned down, right? Because, and I don't think I've thinned this one down yet. Yeah, see how thick that is? That is concentrated, right? And that's why these things only come in 10 mil. because you can probably get, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 bottles thinned out of this one jar. Same with Tamiya. Now, this one's probably separated pretty good, so who knows if we're even going to be able to get the cap off of here. Ooh, easier than I thought. But, same thing. See how thick that is? It's a little thinner, this one, than Mr. Color, but you can still get a good 3 or 4 jars worth of paint out of this one paint after it's thinned, right? So that's the thing to think about as the Tamiya rolls off the screen. Whatever. Let's see. Chris Degger says, is that green if you live in Chernobyl? Yeah, right. Manny says that's like a slate green, right? Terry T has another question for us. He says, one more question. We have a question. He says, are solvent binders also flammable? Yes. Big time. Yes. 100%. They are flammable. Yes. 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 The only types of things that are not flammable, water. Yeah, water. So you're gonna need water-based acrylics, but flammability of paints is not normally a big issue for me. I'm not spraying it near open flame. Let's put it that way. Ronan says, I love that green. Javier, Mr. Gumpler, Uruguay says, full of smog sky. For real, right? Charles Dodge says, that should really be called tornado sky. Hell yeah. Terry T, hey. He says, oh, wait, one more. We have a question. He says, so you shouldn't think Mr. Color, you shouldn't, I guess, thin Mr. Color with alcohol, correct? Oh, no. No. If you want to see, Mr. Color gum up real quick, mix it with alcohol. Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. No. So you can mix alcohol with this, Mr. Color thinner or Mr. Thinner with this, or this. So you can mix Mr. Thinner with this, alcohol with this, not this. Keep that in mind. Let's see. Chris Degger says Vallejo has a nice line of purple, but it's Vallejo. Yeah. Charles Dodge says to Terry T, no, it messes up the binder and makes the paint clump. Oh yeah, big time. And Terry says, gotcha, that's great to know. There you go. Brandon says, anyone here from Michigan watching the news about the 2 dams failing and Midland, Michigan basically being washed away? Yeah, they're seeing some crazy flooding up there in Michigan. One of the worst ever from what it looks like. Crazy stuff. Charles Dodge says, Model Masters paints equals children's first solvent paint. Yeah, baby's first solvent paint. baby's first model paint. Well, that would be testers, the little enamels in the square bottles. But you get my point. Charles Dodge says, not from Michigan, but read the news. Yeah. Hanron's over there on YouTube. He says, hey, guys. What's up, dude? Brandon says, it's crazy, Charles. There will be some big lawsuits. The dams had been cited for being unsafe and unfit for a few years now. Jesus. Yeah, that's not good, is it? Let's see. Andrew says, water is flammable. He says, just add sodium metal. Charles Dodge says, yep, just like the city pipes in Flint. Yeah. Hey now. Manny says, and that's a 1-to-1 ratio on Mr. Color. Again, Manny, I'm gonna tell you again. There's no magic ratio for any paint, no matter what anyone says. Don't let them lie to you. Because each paint and each color within that paint has its own pigment ratio, right? With something like this, which is less vibrant, less saturated, the amount of pigment is going to be a little bit less than, say, the richness of this red, right? This is more saturated, more colorful, and that's what you normally see is the brighter, warmer tones need more thinning. The darker, cooler, less saturated tones need a little less. But this is the thing, not always, because white in Tamiya is notorious for being one of the hardest colors to spray through your airbrush. It actually requires over thinning in my experience. So yeah, keep that in mind. The good general rule for any paint is a nice thin milky consistency. Once you hit that, once it starts to spray really good, then you're in your sweet spot. Go to town. But it's going to take a little trial and error. Once you kind of tune into that, perfect consistency for your airbrush and your compressor, then you'll know exactly. You'll be able to see. You'll be able to visually tell what the right consistency is for your particular airbrush and compressor combination, and the your PSI levels as well. So it does take practice, though. I will tell you that. So let's see. Where did we leave off here? Chris Degger says, wait, what? Vallejo is bad? I have never had a problem. LOL. Use it all the time. I really dislike Vallejo simply because it is water-based and it's acrylic and it's not durable for shit. Now, don't get me wrong. Vallejo on like minis and, things like that don't have moving parts, it's premium. It's great. But if you have moving parts where plastic grinds on plastic, you want durability. You want resiliency in your paint, in the products that you put onto the pieces. So that's why I don't like Vallejo, because I only build Gunpla. I don't give a shit about stationary things, right? So that's why I only use solvent-based paints. It's because they are that freaking durable. Especially when you treat your surface correctly and you get it nice and clean and pristine, and it just latches onto it. So, yeah. Let's see. Brandon says, yeah, I can't wait to get out of this state. It's beautiful, but run by the biggest idiots. Hey. Charles Dodge says, there are better water acrylics out there. It's just they were the first to market to Gunpla. Yeah. Superset5's over there on Twitch. He's got a question for us.
We have a question.
He says, Tamiya can be airbrush via thinned with water. No. Just like Sorvan said. No. That's in slow motion for you guys. No, you don't want to. You definitely don't want to do that. That will be bad. That will be really, really, really so bad, so very bad. Yeah, you don't want to do it because you're just gonna ruin your paint and your finish, because that's gonna come out like a splotchy, nasty mess, and you're gonna have water droplets all in your freaking paint because it didn't mix very well, and it's going to weaken the adhesion of the paint, and it's just going to be very bad. So, no. Michael, I would not do that. I would highly suggest against it, actually. So, Jay Coast says, over there on YouTube, he says, I always learn so much in these streams, I feel like I should be taking notes. Dude, that's why the video, the video is recorded on here, so you can rewind it and take notes if you want, right? Chris Degger says, do you, to Charles Dodge says, do you know any? I can only use acrylic. I'm allergic to, the other paints. Ooh, sheesh. Man, I am not the best when it comes to, non-solvent based acrylics. I honestly wouldn't even know. I really don't. I wouldn't know where to start with something like that. I'm sorry. Let's see. Ty Furious over there on YouTube, he says red and white pigments are hell. They are. They're a little finicky, shall we say. Yeah, got an attitude about them. Charles Dodge says, Monument, oh, there we go. Monument, this is to Chris. Monument Pro Acryl, and Secret Weapon Miniatures both have great paints. And SWM, I don't know what that is, has a Mecha line of color too. Pro Acryl is airbrush ready out of the bottle, but you can still thin it. And what is that other line with the funky names? Turbo Dork. I think that's acrylic too, if I'm not mistaken. Our girl B uses that. And a few other people have tried Turbo Dork as well, and they've really been happy with it. So that's another one you might want to take a look at. They've got some really crazy, funky colors and equally funky names for them. So, yeah. Might be a try. Might be a try. Yeah, there, Charles Dodge says, yeah, Turbo Dork is water acrylic. There you go. Hey. Options, man. We've got options here. Thank you, Charles, for the assist. Manny says, damn, I would hate to waste paint, but it's par for the course to get the sweet spot. Yeah, and you're not wasting a ton because, you know, you're just basically pulling the trigger back and just kind of spraying it, you know, either... I usually spray it along the side of my spray booth just to see what the consistency is. And you're not using a lot. You're just going, you know, maybe a little bit. You're not, trust me, you're not wasting much. Shit, you're probably wasting more by what's in the, you know, by what's in the cup on your airbrush, honestly. Just saying. So, yeah. Let's see. Gert McDirk says, awesome. Glad to hear you explain the pigment ratio spiel. I see way too much disinfo on that. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. It's just, it's crazy. It's so crazy. Like, well, I mix it, you know, 3-to-1 thinner to paint and it's perfect on every color. No, asshole, it's not. You're probably twisting the knob on your stupid compressor. Me, I like to keep the knob at 1 pressure and keep it there forever so I don't ever have to mess with it. And then I'll thin my paints accordingly. Incredible. Sorry, guys. I'm just... It just kills me inside every time I read, you know, especially on, like, Facebook groups and stuff like that, where guys are like, oh, this. They think they know. But then I'm like, you really don't know shit, do you? No, you don't. Anyway, off my soapbox. Gumpa Uruguay, Mr. Javier, he says, I really like the accretion, I don't know how to say that, accretion line from Mr. Color. That's actually water-based too. A little harder to get here in the States from what I've seen. I haven't seen it in the wild all that much, so, yeah. But he says, love that line from Mr. Color too. Too bad the color chart is quite small compared to the regular Mr. Color and Tamiya. Yeah, the line of colors, yeah. Henry says, I wonder if Mr. Color acrylic line has the same characteristic of Tamiya's. I don't know. It's water-based, so I probably doubt it. I think Tamiya's is probably going to be a little bit more durable. If I was to guess, right? I don't know that for a fact. I'm literally guessing. But it's an uneducated guess, so there you go. Javier says, they act like Tamiya paints. They thin fantastic with alcohol. Hey, you can put alcohol in it, so there you go. You can probably bring it up to the durability of Tamiya. Charles Dodge says to Ty Furious, yellow and water acrylics are the same devil. Yeah. I mean, in whatever color, honestly, yellow is shit. And red and white and all orange and all that shit. Yeah, it's just, ugh. Gert McDirk says, oh yeah, I tried those out a bit. They're weird, but nice once you get going. There you go. Probably Turbo Dork stuff, yeah? Gump Uruguay to Handren, he says, I've used them for my Perfect Grade Exia, and now the PG Perfect Grade GPO1, I thin them with isopropyl alcohol. Nice. And Javier got a nice finish on, at least on the GPO1 head that he's displayed in the Mecha Army Facebook group. So, yeah. Let's see. Superset over there on Twitch, he says, I thought Tamiya acrylics could be thinned with water. No, they can't. Nope. And like Sorvon said, they're alcohol based. Yeah. Charles Dodge on YouTube, he says the trick with Turbo Dork is that you have to brush it in one direction for best results on color shifting. Ah, that makes sense, because you're going to mix them up either way. Just, yeah. Hendren says, I see. Talking to Javier. Cool. Let's see. Andrew says, did you ever check out your Badger airbrush, Tim? I have not. I did pull it out, but I didn't really do anything with it. Let's take a look here real quick, because it's right over yonder here. Let's get it, shall we? Let's see. Here we go. All right, so Badger Crescendo. You can see the dust on this thing, right? Let's see, plastic back cap and everything here. All right, so that twists out. The needle, ooh, the needle's dirty, but overall straight. That's a good thing. Let's check the action. Does it depress? Ooh, yeah, look at that. It depresses. The pullback is a little grindy. So it's not as smooth as it could be. Let's see. I'm guessing. Here, let's take this off, and then we'll take the assembly out here. Plastic, by the way. I'm guessing the grinding is probably in here. Let's see. A little bit. Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it's probably dirty as hell, honestly. And it probably needs a good deep cleaning. Yeah, that could definitely use some cleaning. Maybe a little polish and stuff like that. Definitely, you know, airbrush lubrication and stuff like that. All that good stuff. But honestly, I think a good deep cleaning in yeah, see, that's a little dark, but a nice deep cleaning in a ultrasonic would probably do well. Let's check the nozzle here. Ooh. Oh yeah. Okay. So, I actually put that Mega Lock on here to seal that, to seal these threads. Unobstructed. Let's see. No bell ending, so that's good. Unobstructed through there. I don't know if you can. Oh, there you go. Yeah. So all clear there. You know, I'd have to run some air and some paint or water through this, Andrew, and see what this thing looks like. Now, if memory serves, I was getting a leak around this nozzle, if I remember correctly, which I may or may not be. But that's what I think. That's why I think I put the Mega Lock on that, to prevent any leaks on it. But again, I could be completely wrong. Oop, that's backwards. Is it backwards? Shit. No, that's right. And then this. God, it's been like forever since I've put this airbrush together. And it's a little bit different from my Iwata. So I'm out of practice. Yeah. See, it's not a perfectly smooth action. You can feel there's metal grinding on metal somewhere within this assembly here. And I'm guessing it's in here. Which, honestly, then you just need, you know, like I said, some airbrush lube and should be good to go. Yeah, there's no difference with the needle in there. So it's got to be in the assembly. Got to be. But, yeah, I mean, it seems to be in good physical condition. At least from what I can tell without testing it, actually. But, yeah. So, I'm guessing that's a half 0.5 millimeter nozzle in there. And, yeah, double action. Not the smoothest action, but it's a double action. Made in the USA. Yeah. Badger 175 Crescendo. Yeah. So, I'll try to run some liquid through this, Andrew, and see what I can see. Because, like I said, I know I put that Mega Lock on those threads for a reason. I can't remember if it was an actual problem or not. So, yeah. Anywho. Sorvan says that must be a way older model Badger. Kind of looks like ass compared to my Chrome. Dude, yeah. I bought it back in, I want to say 2002. Huh. So yeah, you're talking 18 years ago. This, technically right now, this can get its license and drive. So yeah. And buy cigarettes and stuff. Can't drink just yet, though. Let's see. Gump Uruguay says, Spray Gunner sells accretion. That's the only site I found them besides Amazon and eBay. There you go. Hayden says, I still use mine for priming. Oh, you're Crescendo. Okay. Charles Dodge says, my local store, Build Up Imports out of Independence, Missouri, has a good chunk of the accretion line if you want to look them up and call. There you go. Superset5 over there on Twitch says, when I get a chance, I need to go to Home Depot for a quote to install some window vents for the basement so I can get to painting. Actually, Superset, don't worry about, say, window vents. The louvered vents that are for dryers, like clothes dryers, those work really well because that's what I have connected to my spray booth, and since it's louvered, when you're not using it, it closes back up so it doesn't let any little creepy crawlies in, or little rodents and pests and stuff like that. So, food for thought. Andrew says, I've got some Badger needle juice to help with that. There you go. Gertmer Dirt has a question. Come on, button. There we go. He says, what kind of lube do you use for your brush, Tim? What key areas do you hit? Great question. Let me show you on the Iwata here, and this will kind of explain everything. Now, the different companies will have, different, lubrications and stuff like that. And what I do for mine is, and this is probably all gummed up. Yeah, see how it takes a second there to come back up, and oh yeah, that's gummed up real nice and good because I haven't cleaned the damn thing since I painted Kylo Ren, and it's probably paint dried up in the front end here. But the only places that I actually put lubrication are right underneath the trigger assembly, so that it can depress up and down, and so this can pull back. I don't really usually have to put it anyplace else. Some people put it up here along the nozzle where the where the needle is. I've never done that, and I've never had an issue with it. I just put it down into where the trigger assembly is, and that works perfect for me. So like I said, I've never had any issues aside from that, and honestly, you shouldn't either. So, yeah. Henry says that airbrush is a workhorse, the Crescendo. Yeah. Chris Degger says, holy cow, I just looked up the accretion at my local hobby store, and they have so much in stock. Time to go shopping after the stream. LOL, thanks. There you go. Look at that. Henry says, that's when I bought mine as well. Oh, back in 2002. Nice. Charles Dodge says, can't buy cigarettes anymore. National buying age is 21 now. Ah, I did not know that. Obviously, I don't smoke or have ever smoked, so I could care less. Not discounting the information, Charles, just I'm saying, having 4 grandparents that died from either lung cancer or emphysema due to smoking-related issues, I'm against it. Especially after seeing all 4 of them die. Not fun. Let's see. Chris Degger says, can drink in Canada, LOL 19, and you can get loaded. Yeah, there you go. Julio says, later fam, see you tonight. Julio, take care, buddy. Goalie, Mr. Carl. Brain fart. Carl's over there on Twitch. He says, cheap lubrication I learned from an Iwata rep is plain chapstick. Interesting. That makes sense, actually, because it's like a wax based. Also good for sealing screw threads. Hey, he says definitely helps with sticky trigger depression. Shit. And since it's wax, it won't gum up as quick. God damn it, Carl. Now I gotta go get some chapstick. Shit. But that's a good call. Holy shit. That's a really good call. I might have to test that. Ooh. Mr. Shit Carl. Not anymore. Mr. Awesome Carl. That's a really good tip. Damn, that's got me thinking now. Son of a bitch. Yeah, that's a really good idea. Huh. Charles Dodge says, law passed in January. Used to work at a gas station. Ah, that's why. I don't pay attention. Gert McDirt says, dude, that's a great idea. Chapstick, I'll try it. He says, thanks, fellas. No, thank Carl, man. Carl's Mr. Awesome Carl over there on Twitch. Hell yeah. Whew. Hello, good morning. How are you? Nice to see you. Damn. We've covered some ground here today, kids. Chapstick. I like it. Huh. That's really got me thinking now. Like, big time. Gert McDirt says thank you, Carl. See, Carl? He says thank you. Alright, so, man. Okay, I gotta do that. Maybe not by the time tonight's show, but I gotta do that. Maybe this weekend or something. I gotta give that a try. I really do. I gotta give that a try. Carl, good call. Alright, let's go back to camera 1. Let's put a ribbon on this thing. Let's call it a night, yeah? Or call it a day, I should say, because we're going to be back here tonight working on the GBWC build. Alright, so, you guys, if you want to rock the Reapers, hit up childofmecha.com, hit the store button up at the top. You will find this shirt, many more, hats, prints of my work, all sorts of fun stuff in there. So go load up. If you are interested in any of the tools and materials that we were working with here today, I highly suggest that you hit the Amazon link below here on Twitch and YouTube. That side, if you're watching on Facebook, now I do get a bit of commission based off the stuff that you buy, but it does not increase the cost for you. It goes to help out me, goes to help out the stream, fuel our endeavors moving forward. There's a lot of cool stuff in there. Like I said, tools and materials, books for inspiration, gear for streaming. If you want to get into that, now is a really great time. If you are interested in tools, kits, paints, accessories, Mecha Decals, sheets 1 and 2. That's right down here. Get them from USA Gundam Store, our boys. Mr. Adam and the crew down there will definitely have what you need. Now, real quick, Sorvan says, might as well throw all the airbrushes in the deep clean, get them set up for a chapstick lube job. Dude, Sorvan, I mean, for real, that's actually a really good point that Carl had, right? Greek Nako says, shut the fuck. Oh, okay, Carl, you get 1 point this time. Nice. Carl says, I used to play bass for Hapstick Lube Job. There you go. Shit, these guys. Anyway, so guys, real quick, if you like what we do here, if you get value from it, if you learn from the stuff that we talk about, obviously that was a great tip from Carl. Hit the like, subscribe, follow, all that on the other social media channels. You can keep up with what we're doing here, off stream, and sign up for the Child of Mecha Facebook group, or the Mecha Army Facebook group. Why do I get these things mixed up? I don't know. But make sure to answer all the damn questions or you're not getting in. So many people don't do that. It boggles my mind. Anyway, if you know a group, somebody or a group of somebodies, share the stream with them too. It'd be the nice thing to do. Yeah. Real quick, last comment of the day or today. Tashi over there on YouTube, he says, got a Procon trigger type ready for when I can get a mask, and I'm definitely keeping the stream saved for when I finally break it out. Chapstick. Carl, you're the man. And it doesn't even have to be like good chapstick either. It can be just like the regular like Target or Walmart cheapo chapstick. It's the wax. Yeah. Damn good call. Damn good call, Carl. Hell yeah. Anyway. All right, kiddos. I'm going to be back here later tonight, 10 p.m. in about 5 hours or so. So come on back and see me work on the bazooka here for this GBWC build, and we'll continue on. So, with that being said, guys, have a wonderful rest of your day. Be safe out there. Use common sense. Wash your hands. But most of all, build something cool. All right. See y'all tonight. Bye, guys.